My name is David and I'm from Spain. The biggest challenge is for the youth population, still because of their life exposure and their experience in life, still they need more support, and they don't necessarily all of them get support from families or from the classmates. We still face homophobia in the school, and the educational system, even if it is making efforts to address this and diminish the discrimination, still there is a lot of things to be done, especially in rural areas. So I'm a youth worker and I work in a high school. That's why I'm talking about this reality. I'm queer myself, so having my experience, difficult experience in school when I was younger, made me want to collaborate with the future generations for them to have the same challenges and problems and difficulties. I'm very passionate about my work and collaborating with future generations. Also to understand where homophobia is coming from. Raise awareness among my colleagues, other teachers who might not be so aware of the situation because they haven't faced it themselves. And also, as a queer person who feels quite comfortable with my life, to bring up an example of, you are yourself, and that's good, just to feel free and move around life with easiness. Definitely, a lot of progress. I was born in the 70s and there was no visibility. There was very little visibility. We cannot even talk about awareness. Awareness is important, but visibility is very important. It's the beginning of awareness. If a community doesn't exist or is very marginalized, there is nothing to be addressed. There is very little possibility for talking about it even. When I grew up, teachers, even parents weren't really drawn to talk about it. So when you don't have visibility in society, you don't exist. On top of it, you suffer discrimination, so it's terrible. At least now in our country, in Spain, we have exposure to media, we talk about it, there are organizations, we exist. I mean, it doesn't mean that back then when I grew up there was no one talked about it, but it was much less so and very marginalized. So fortunately I have to say, and I want to celebrate that the situation has really changed. But being said that, I think we should go for more changes. I mean, if we hadn't actually addressed these problems and discrimination, made alliances with local governments, schools and public systems, nothing would have changed. People who are in a privileged situation wouldn't have done any effort to do it. So we, as a community, we created the change with the help of those institutions who were willing to do so too. So, yeah, a lot of people from the community weren't necessarily interested in having similar rights to the straight population, like same-sex marriages, but in a way that helped a lot. In our case in Spain, helped a lot for exposure to daily life. If you get married as a gay couple or a lesbian couple, you exist and you go to certain institutions to do your paperwork, and then it gives you visibility, and people know about it, and they professionally they have to work around it because that's their job. So that helped a lot. Like legalizing same-sex marriages actually accelerated the non-discrimination, or the visibilization at least. Sometimes we don't address the inner discrimination within the gay community and the LGBTQ community. There is also discrimination when it comes to diversity. Like now in the gay male community, certain values are more higher, like being masculine, like when we had to fight for being ourselves, whether we are masculine, feminine, or whatever. Now all of a sudden, the value of being masculine is higher and it's really sold more expensive. So that creates discrimination in the community, and it brings out a lot of stereotypes. So I think we should be vigilant and careful about those discrimination, not to mention our own discrimination. So let's not remain asleep, and let's wake up and work for a better world for all of us.